Welcome everyone to the Saint Louis Blitz 2025. We have Wesley So who's smiling at the board. Such a nice scene. He's adjusting his white pieces. He's taking on none other than world champion Domaraju Gukesh. Gukesh has started off day 3 pretty well with a draw against Aronian and a win against Samuel Shankland. And now he's playing against Wesley So. Promises to be an exciting clash. He gets all his pieces in order, and it's always interesting to see how the players get ready for the Blitz game. Like Wesley is wearing a jacket, Gukesh is not, because he wants to be free and he wants to be kind of ready to make the moves. The game begins. Knight f3, knight c6. We have the Ruy Lopez. Knight comes out to f6, playing the Berlin. Will Wesley So allow it? No, he goes for the anti-Berlin. Bishop comes out to c5. And now pawn to c3. Black castles. White castles. And Gukesh should be a bit careful about these moves. Bishop g5 that are possible. He goes rook e8 first. As long as the bishop can drop back, Bishop g5 is not really a problem. When you play d6, already you have to start worrying about Bishop g5. Knight d2 played. And now this blocks the bishop. Let's see how Gukesh continues. He plays a6, questioning the bishop. The bishop comes back. We are actually going to head into the main line of the Ruy Lopez now with a6 b5 that has been played. Pawn to d6, h3 played, and now pawn to h6. So all very standard stuff in the opening. Rook e1. Maybe now there's something that Gukesh can do. Bishop e6. He's trading the bishops, and if you take, I take back with the rook, and I think that's what black wants. Just kind of trade a few pieces, and maybe if white wants to sort of keep the tension, he can go bishop c2, because then he has these ideas of d4, d5. Of course, the knight is in the way right now. Yes, he plays bishop c2, but then you can play knight f1, knight g3, and try to push d4 in the center. And Gukesh has many ways to deal with it. He can put his bishop back on b6, but also go d5. This is a very powerful move. And remember, the e5 pawn is never really in trouble when the bishop is on c5. So queen e2 played, but imagine if take, knight e5, then we have bishop h3 business, or even bishop f2 and queen f6 after knight e5. You know, these tactics are always there in the air, but maybe it's better to go bishop d5, defending it anyway. Queen e2 was played. He didn't take it. And now Gukesh taking his time. I think what Wesley wants to do is he wants to maintain this structure. He didn't want to trade queens here. So he just put his queen on e2. And then he wants to reroute the queen from f1 to g3. Now bishop b6 played. So the bishop moves back. And now I'm wondering, like, should we take here? But then let's continue with our plan, right? Knight f1. Because knight f1, however, it seems like Gukesh has some ideas like pawn takes, and bishop c4, which is kind of irritating, to be honest. So he takes the pawn. And now taking with the knight is better, because knight e5 is super dangerous. Like for example, yes, knight takes d5. If knight e5, there is knight e5, queen e5, and you can see the rook on e1 is undefended. So bishop d7, and you're losing material here. So can't do this. He goes knight to f1. And now Gukesh has to figure out how to create counterplay. One way is f5, the other is queen d7 with the idea of looking at h3. One more idea is bishop to f5, putting the bishop on a nice square, also protecting the e5 pawn. These are the possible ideas. And Wesley now thinking a bit deeply here. Gukesh goes bishop f5. He is looking at the d3 pawn, but more importantly, the pawn is defended. Maybe knight g3. Bishop to d2 played. I guess one plan is just to bring the rook in the center. Queen d7, connecting the rooks. The position is building up slowly and steadily. Queen d7. If rook a d1, yes, he brings the rook to d1. And black goes maybe rook a d8. Just get the rook. What a game this is, where both players are just calmly developing their pieces. One must give it to Gukesh for being able to get more space. You can see how black pieces have captured these 4 ranks, while white pieces are on the first 3 ranks, you know. These are the spaces where it is. Bishop c1 goes back. And Gukesh goes b4. Very interesting move. He's fighting for the d4 square. Like imagine if you push c4, then already knight f4, knight d4, bishop activates here. So can't easily play c4. But at the same time, he's threatening take, and take on c3. So Wesley has to go back bishop d2 perhaps. He plays it, but that's where the bishop came from. He takes, and now the main move here, not so simple to figure out what to do. Look at Wesley, how focused he is. Bishop a5 attacking c3 is interesting. He plays it. But now guys, there's an insane move that white has. You know, black is the one who's been constantly calling the threats in the position. But now you have bishop a4 and he finds it. This pin is very irritating because there's no pawn to defend it. The queen is kind of tied up to it. If you take on c3, you are afraid that after bishop takes rook c1, your knight is going to be in trouble. So just for example, take, and I go queen c2. Now if you take on e1, I'll take on c6 first. Or I can even take back knight e1 and then pick up this knight because I can put even more pressure. So these are the problems that Gukesh is facing, and Wesley very smartly being able to bring this. And Gukesh's time now down to 1 minute 30 seconds. He's very low on time and he has these very important questions to answer. Maybe the best way is to just play rook e6 to defend this even further, or drop the bishop back to g6. But do not take the pawn on c3, Gukesh. That would be a big mistake. But Gukesh is like calculating. He is a calculation monster. Oh, he blunders here. Rook c1. Powerful move. It's super powerful. I don't know what Gukesh has in mind to rook c1, but it's just killer. Just think about it. Rook c1. And if you take on d2 first, I can actually start with taking on c6, attacking the queen, and he finds it. And Gukesh instantly moves knight f4. Now, I don't think this move makes a huge difference because you can simply drop back your queen. Yes, you're losing the d3 pawn, but you're winning the c3 bishop. You're also, like if he takes on d2, you can take back here on c6. So it requires a bit of care, but there's another move which is very good. Oh, he takes on f4 and Gukesh takes back, attacking the queen. No, he's thinking, but he takes back, yes. And now very important for Wesley to go to d1. It's a little move, but you know, tactically very sharp, because after this, bishop e1, I can simply take here, let's say bishop e1 here, I can take bishop c6 and that's completely fine. But instead he goes to c2, and this is a tactical blunder because here knight d4 can come in some places to attack here. So I can take first rook e1, very important move, take the rook, if Gukesh can find it, not bishop e1. Bishop e1 is met with bishop c6, with white is better, but take with the rook. He takes it, chops it, and now see, if you take with the knight, I have this move bishop e1, and if you take back here, I have knight d4. This is the move. He plays bishop e1 is on the board, and Wesley, if he takes on c6, queen e6 defends the bishop. It's so subtle. If rook e1, there's knight d4 winning the game. You can't win this knight. And if you take on c6, queen e6, and black is a pawn up, completely dominating. So Wesley messed it up in the complications. It was super complex, this position. Bishop c6, queen e6, but Gukesh kind of navigated those complications better. Bishop comes back, he saves his bishop to a5. Defending the pawn on c7. And Wesley So now in big trouble. Things have shifted in Gukesh's favor big time. And although Wesley has a few extra seconds on the clock, now he goes below Gukesh on time. There are no double attacks. Nothing is hanging. He goes queen c5. Bishop, takes the bishop on a5. Now e4 is hanging and c7 as well. But rook d3 taken. And I believe queen c7 will be met with queen g6 threatening a mate here. So f3 played, and Gukesh can save his bishop here to g6. But look at Gukesh. He spots bishop takes f3, sacrifices a piece just like that. That's amazing. That's a blunder. Queen g6 check, king h1, rook takes h3, knight h2, and queen e4 a mate. Because king g1, rook g3 check, and then you zoom in with the queen and it's all over. What a game this by Gukesh. And also Wesley had his chance with those tactical ideas in the middle game, but Gukesh somehow calculated things better and managed to win the game. Not a coincidence that Gukesh converts another minus position into a win.